Hello, I'm Luke McCann, and this is my management interview report. I decided to interview one of my friends, Chris Neufeld. He's a financial accountant. He does financial planning, and he also got his license recently in being a tax advisor. He owns his own business called Capital Neufeld Management. In this business, he helps clients plan their future retirement and their financial packages, and he really enjoys it. So I had a plan of interviewing him because I look up to him and I really like what he does, and he started his own business about 20 years ago, and I plan to do this one day, so I thought I could get some great advice from him, and it fit this project, so here we go. I interviewed about 10 questions I sent him, and he answered them. We couldn't conduct an interview in person, obviously because of the pandemic, but he got back and responded to these 10 questions, and I'll start with number one. Number one, what was the toughest part of the business startup? So my intentions with this was to really get an understanding of some of the troubles of a business startup. I always hear that it's pretty tough and hard, and you never really know how it's going to go. So Chris responded, gaining the trust of prospective clients without having a proven track record. So this is a very expected response. Obviously at the beginning it's tough to have your clients trust you, especially when it's with their whole bank account and their financial planning. But as we go on, you'll see Chris did a great job with proving that his track record is great, and he is a trustful man, and people do look up to him and do trust him with their financial planning. Number two, what is the day-to-day mission of Neufeld Capital Management? And he responded, being committed to always doing what is best for my clients and providing excellent service while developing lasting relationships built on security and trust. So I found it very interesting that here again, he focused on trust. So this is a very key component to his business. He wanted to make sure that this was always prioritized and that people trusted him. He also mentions building a lasting relationship. So this is one of my main key takeaways from management also, the whole relationship aspect, and I think this is one of the top variables that makes a great manager. It makes them likable and makes them the best at their job, is being relational with people and making sure that people can trust you. Number three, what kind of online systems do you use to make the operation run smoothly? So I was very interested in how he would respond to this question, but he responded with a couple online websites that I'm not familiar with. These control the financial aspects, and then he also uses Outlook Express for his schedule. This helps him to stay organized and stay up to date with the calendar day to day, keeping his clients on track. Number four, what have been some tactics you use to motivate employees? And his employees include his family, which has helped him with the business. And he said, I use food. I thought this is a very interesting response. I wasn't really expecting it, but knowing Chris, also this is kind of a typical response, as he is a guy with a strong personality of humor. This is a great reminder to myself actually to maintain humor and maintain a personality. Just because it's a job and a business doesn't mean you can't have this stuff involved. Number five, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being poor and 1 being poor and 10 being excellent, how would you rate your level of communication with clients? So he said 8. He said when he puts a plan together, he makes sure they have a good understanding of what is going on, but then there's always room for improvement. That's why he gave himself an 8, which is understandable. Number 6, what have been some of the biggest roadblocks in managing your business? And Chris responded, he said he wouldn't call them roadblocks, but personal struggles. It was hard for him not having control of the market because he bases a lot of investments off of the market going up and down. So this is a little hard for him because it's clients' livelihood is kind of based on the market, but he's been able to overcome this over time. Number 7, what would you say are 2 main strengths and 2 main weaknesses? He said 2 main strengths would be communicating and being able to relate to a broad range of clients, and weaknesses, his organization, and public speaking. So his organization, I think he was being a little hard on himself because he's a pretty organized guy. And I've never heard him in a setting of public speaking, so I guess he needs to work on that. Number 8, someone is given full ownership and responsibility of Neufeld Capital Management. What kind of advice would you give them and why? So he responded with saying, to always do an interest of what is best for the client. So even when there's lots of money involved and financial gain that he could benefit off of them, he always says, I focus on the clients and I do what they want and I really want to be there to help them. So again, this is a great way to develop that relationship trust, and that's what the business is built on. Number 9, do you have a dream of growing the size of the business? How would you do so, and what's holding you back? He said, yes, I plan on adding another advisor to my business, and he is currently implementing this. One of those advisors actually includes his son, Trevor, which I'm good friends with, so that'll be kind of cool how that holds out the next couple of years if Trevor joins the business. And then lastly, number 10. If you could go back in time, what would you change or do differently with the business, and why? He said he would have started working for another firm because that way you can get good experience, can get a mentor, and really learn and grow faster. Because at the beginning it was very tough for Chris to learn the process because it was all on his own. He was reading books and he had to buy a building, but he said he would go back and he would be under someone else and learn from them. So I thought that was a great piece of advice. And then to finish off, I would say my overall takeaway was it's very important in management to maintain trust, relationship, and to always keep the clients in mind, or employers, for most people's case. You want to relate to them and really be there for them in good times and in bad times. So thank you for listening. I hope you guys all enjoyed my presentation. And then if I had PowerPoints, I would include some pictures of possibly the building that Chris owns. It's pretty awesome little building right downtown. And then his website and applications he uses. This would have been cool to include on a PowerPoint just to kind of see what a typical setup would be like. And then I was going to put a picture of us two together camping because we go on a camping trip every year. That's always great. And when we're camping together, he usually gives me advice and teaches me about business. So, like I said, thanks again for listening. See you guys later.